And good morning. It is a Thursday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. I'm Glenn. He's Griffin. And boy, do we have a busy show on tap. Coming up in a few minutes, our buddy Tim Kurkjian is going to join us. Sunday Night Baseball back in Baltimore this week for Rangers Orioles. We'll talk to Tim about that. Deadline, of course. All those things. Later on this hour, we talked about her yesterday, the unbelievable Katie Pumphrey, fresh off swimming 24 miles from Sandy Point into the Inner Harbor on Tuesday. She will join us, tell us about her swim, about how she's recovered. I just wonder if, because she's awesome, can 2 days later she just, get back? She's like, yeah, I can swim 24 miles a day if I needed to. What a life. That's amazing. We'll talk to her about that. Matthew Etzel will head down to Bowie, our weekly visit with the Baysox. He was off to a red-hot start to the season in Aberdeen and got the call up to Bowie, so we'll check in with him. And before we wrap up the show today, perhaps you've heard of Anthony Santander. Today is the final day to vote in the first round of All-Star voting. Let's make sure Anthony Santander, who's hit, 75 home runs this month?
I thought it was 76 after the other night.
It's unbelievable. Let's make sure that he gets in the next round of voting. So get your votes in. You can go vote 5 times before noon today. So that's it.
Well, more than 5 times if you keep making emails. Okay?
I guess that's true, too.
Yeah,
I'm supposed to say you can vote 5 times, but yeah. It's amazing how many Griffin Bass 1, Griffin Bass 2, Griffin Bass 8,467.
Well, I told you
at Gmail.
I told you back when I was 12 or something, trying to get Adam Jones into the All-Star game. I made a fake email and it was just called Orangey,
Orangey.
Yeah, because I think I wanted to call it Orioles or something.
Okay.
It was Orangey. So I have 10 emails that start with Orangey.
It's good for when you need to sign up for your free Apple TV Plus account in order to watch the Orioles games, that you've actually pre-registered all these different email addresses.
And it's perfect for the All-Star.
Then you can just go from one to
so.
another. So all that coming up on the program today. Obviously a pleasant evening, finally. Took a little while. Massively needed start from Grayson Rodriguez. And yes, when the Orioles stranded the bases loaded in the first inning, we all had the exact same feeling. We all were just no, it's not going to be one of these nights, is it? Please tell me it's not going to be one of these nights. But it wasn't one of those nights, despite them running into a few outs on the base paths. The Orioles' home run bats came to life. Home runs from Gunnar Henderson. The go-ahead and what proved to be the winning home run from Cedric Mullins, which feels good, and then obviously insurance home run from Ryan O'Hearn a little bit later. And given all the difficulties that the starters had of late, an absolutely massive 7-inning performance from Grayson Rodriguez. 7 innings, just the 2 solo home runs among 5 hits. No walks. No walks. Chef's kiss. And then how about a guy going 5 2/3 innings without striking out anybody and then striking out everyone? It's real weird how a week ago Grayson Rodriguez got his ass beat but had struck out 8 dudes in the process. And then we looked up last night and we're like, wow, he's putting together a nice game. And he hasn't struck anyone out at all. And then 4 straight after that. So all adds up to a big win for the Birds, and yes, does indeed add up to Grayson Rodriguez being man of the match for last night. It is his 4th MOTM performance of the season. So that's pleasant. We like that, and that's good after what had been, as we pointed out, a very bad start for Grayson Rodriguez last time, but certainly doesn't do anything to ease your concerns. Even after a rough start the last time, Grayson Rodriguez is one of the starters you believed in. The problem, of course, being the starters not named Corbin Burnes and Grayson Rodriguez. So as the Orioles open up a 4-game set tonight with the Texas Rangers, the good news is they've got one of those guys on the mound. Corbin Burnes goes tonight. The bad news is they don't have another one going the rest of the weekend. So they're going to need somebody to step up. And as we pointed out the other night, Cade Povich certainly was good enough in his last start that the Orioles could have won the game. He wasn't good, but he was good enough. Dean Kramer is pitching today. So I don't know what that means. They went ahead and announced the whole starters for the weekend. He didn't leave anything up in the air like, well, maybe we consider. So my thought that Julio Teheran was going to be back in the mix soon. Right now, the Orioles are not saying that. They went ahead and announced starters for the entirety of the weekend, just kept everyone on normal rest, and all 5 of the guys lined up for the weekend. So we'll see. They can change that, obviously, at any moment if they so desire, but they're planning to just at least get through the weekend with the same group of guys and then, I guess, revisit from there. Presumably, Dean Kramer maybe kind of giving everybody like one more shot to nail down their rotation spot. And then I think the next question would be, because you do have an off day on Monday and because the All-Star break is coming up, you don't really need specifically, although do they have another off day between Monday and the All-Star break? I feel like they did.
Yes.
They do have
the next 2 Mondays are off.
Both of the next 2 Mondays. So, do they feel the need to go with the 6-man, or is everyone auditioning for their spot with Dean Kramer slated to return this weekend? Find out. We'll find out. Right now, just deal with the pleasant. Just deal with the good. The good is they badly needed a big start from Grayson Rodriguez. The other good is that while they've sucked in general of late, the Yankees have been just as bad.
Well,
and
Mets are a buzzsaw. So.
That's true, too. All of a sudden, that's why I don't think Luis Sever. I don't think that's going to be on the table for the Orioles. Jim Bowden's projected trade. Thankfully, as bad as it has been, the Orioles from the time the Yankee series ended to today, despite the fact that the Orioles are 1-5, they've only lost a half a game in the standings. And they're right back to being within a game of the Yankees as the Yankees lost again last night. So that is the good news. The bad news is you don't feel any better about the starting pitching just because the Yankees have been bad recently. That doesn't suddenly make you feel like, Yankees stink? Albert Suarez is great. It doesn't. There's no correlation.
No,
between
Garrett
those
Cole and
two
Luis
things.
Hill, they can't pitch. So.
Well, you hope that's
done.
that's true. Garrett Cole was not good. There's no doubt about that. Maybe Luis Hill is hitting that wall and really will have to go back into the bullpen for the Yankees. Though that's a nice arm to have in the bullpen for what it's worth. That is helpful to them in a different way. By the way, are you trying to be Andrew Schultz? Like, what's going on with you? I haven't talked about.
Sound like?
No, just the look.
Oh.
Yeah, the whole thing. Yeah, it's very.
I think he's trying to be like me.
I don't think that's what it is.
I'm
I think
definitely not
you're.
trying to
Are
be
you
Andrew
trying to be a
Schultz.
doppelganger?
I would
Schultz?
never try to be like.
Are you
Andrew
trying
Schultz.
to slither in and let Nikki Glazer call you like a Carney F or something like that? Is that what's going on over there? I'm looking at you and I'm like, huh.
Well,
very Andrew Schultz.
I mean, I can grow a better mustache than.
Wasn't he
Andrew
in town
Schultz.
recently? I think my buddy saw him. He did the Burt Kreischer thing down at Merriweather, right?
Yeah, I'm sure everyone was loving that.
What? What do you not like Burt
Andrew
Kreischer?
Schultz and Burt Kreischer can't get better.
Man, my guy. What are you going war on
No,
like
I'm
all
saying
of the?
Yeah, I'm sure it can't be better.
You going
Merriweather
war on
with-
all the popular comedians?
No.
It was like a whole crew of them. It was like a comedy festival, I believe, at
Okay, wait, who else
Merriweather.
was down there? Well, then maybe it was.
I think Big J Okerlund was part of it.
Okay.
He was very popular. Who the hell else? My buddy texted me. Apparently, Andrew Schultz was like riding around on a scooter before the show or something like that. And he was texting me. Mr. Gadsby was there and was like texting me pictures. And I said, well, that's nice. Hang on a second. It wasn't Andrew Schultz. Sorry, it was Tony Hinchcliffe. That's who it was.
Okay.
It wasn't Andrew Schultz at all. It was everybody else that was involved in the roast of Tom Brady. Kill Tony. It was Burt Kreischer, Tony Hinchcliffe, Stavros.
Stavy.
I don't know Joe DeRosa.
Maybe I should go for a Stavy look instead.
Maybe that's what you should go with. Dan Soder, Sifa Sounds, Big J Okerson, and Adam Ray were part of this event that was at Merriweather the other night. I'm sure it was lovely. I'm sure everyone had a great
Andrew
time.
Schultz wasn't there, so.
Right. Do you hate Andrew Schultz? Why would you hate the man that you've created your entire look?
Well, he's trying to be
to
like,
model.
he's trying to copy me.
No.
Yeah.
Definitely not
Yeah,
that.
he is.
No, not that at all. I don't know what I would feel about a comedy festival at Merriweather. Like, that's a weird place to go to a comedy festival. I'm sure everybody was funny. I'm sure it's just a strange, like, I'd rather go to a club or a theater or something like that for a comedy show. I mean, somewhere indoors, I think be my feelings. I know that's what you tuned in for, and that's what I'm going to get to the bottom of with you, is where is the best place to go see a comedy festival? I think for me it would be. I do love Magoobies.
That's the only place, actually. Like,
no, it's not the only place.
It's the only place to go see a comedy show.
Anything else? Anyway, so that's that. Grayson Rodriguez, man of the match. Hopefully the Orioles can build off of a big win last night, and we will continue to see. We didn't even talk. I just realized that yesterday somebody brought up that we hadn't talked about Garrett Cooper. The Orioles signed Garrett Cooper. Okay, now moving on. I mean, what do you want me to say? Like, what in the world am I?
He's coming for Ryan O'Hearn, and
sure. He's a right-handed bat. Like, that's
maybe he'll play third base.
There's nothing. The Orioles signed into a minor league deal. They have nothing to lose signing Garrett Cooper to a minor league deal. You couldn't. It's the same thing.
They have Garrett Cooper to lose.
Well, I mean, if they lose him right now, they don't. He's one of them. It'd be like being angry about Julio Teheran a couple weeks ago. Like, what do you? How is there any opinion to have about Garrett Cooper? Do I think that he's going? It's very weird because he actually got off to a good start to the season with the Cubs, and then they DFA'd him. I can't figure that part out. I don't know. That's got to be the case.
Like Michael Busch was playing really well. Is he third base or first base?
I have no idea. Could not possibly tell you what the story was with Garrett Cooper getting DFA'd. Now, then he got picked up by the Red Sox, which made sense. He was off to a good start to the season. But he stunk. He was terrible in Boston. So is it possible that Garrett Cooper could end up being a helpful bat? I can't say no. Do I see that being likely? No, I don't see that either.
Michael Busch is left-handed. Yeah, I don't know what.
Yeah, I no clue. No clue. Wasn't he hitting like 270? 270
yeah,
something?
he was. Yeah, like the first.
It's so weird
or whatever it was.
that. And I don't know the circumstance. Maybe there was somebody that was hurt, and then he came back, and they just said, this is redundant. We don't need this guy.
So Seiya Suzuki was hurt, and he's been DHing for them, I think.
Okay, maybe.
Maybe that was, I don't know.
I don't have the answer. But he was hitting 270. I mean, he was helpful. I'm not trying to oversell that and suggest that, like, Garrett Cooper was a significant contributor, but he was hitting. He was getting on base at a 341 clip. The Orioles need another right-handed bat. This also gives you insurance if at some point, you look at the neck. Obviously, Ramon Arias was at the death for his value on the roster. And then, out of nowhere, Ramon Arias got valuable again. But if we go through another 6 weeks and Ramon Arias' value is limited, then maybe that's an insurance policy for if at some point you have to have a roster spot, let's say for Jackson Holiday, or for Kobe Mayo, and you just sort of decide that you're ready to move past Ramon Arias, and then you get down the road and you need another right-handed bat. I'm projecting a lot here. Garrett Cooper's an Oriole, technically. He's a Norfolk Tide. And God bless him. And if he can help...
Wonder what number he'll wear when he gets here.
Don't care. If he can help, great. There is no... If the Orioles had to put him on the Major League roster, then I would have an opinion. The fact that they don't, I have no opinion. I think they should try to do better in a right-handed bat. But it ain't my priority either. My priority will continue to be starting pitching and the bullpen. But if possible, I'm not going to be opposed to the idea of also adding a right-handed bat. So there's my take on Garrett Cooper. From last night, obviously the NBA draft, first round of the NBA draft, and certainly neat for if you're one of the few people that's both from Baltimore and a Wizards fan. And Griffin kind of flirts with that a little bit.
Well, like so
he's not really like
and traded my favorite player. So.
Yeah, you're right. You loved old Denny. He's not like my buddy Ben Hall from the radio station who like legitimately loves the Wizards. I'm like, how? There's no one in D.C. that loves the Wizards. How? How do you exist? Who are you? But if you're one of the 5 people in that are both a Baltimorean and like a hardcore Washington Wizards fan.
If you're one of the 5 people, hit me up.
Yeah, right. You'll start a club. Then it's a cool morning for you. It doesn't change the fact that the Wizards are bad, but like it's cool that a Baltimore kid is a Washington Wizard now. I'd be happy for Bub Carrington wherever he was. I would be happier for Bub Carrington probably if he were on a good team. I'm certainly happy for his family that it's right down the street and they're going to be able to go to games, and that'll be a very cool thing for him. It's not playing at home, but it's the best that you can get in the NBA, obviously. I'm not going to tell you that I'm going to rave about the Wizards draft. I don't know that I get the thought process in trading Denny, but I also understand that, like, he's going to cost you money and you ain't close to being good. Like, there are two nerds every year who are like, oh, you look at that core for the Wizards, they might be no, they're not. They're not. They don't have it. So if this is their way of saying, like, we're just not going to pay money and we're going to push this down the road and see if this new core of Sarr and Koulibaly, is that how you pronounce it?
Koulibaly. Kuzma signed a 4-year deal last year. So.
Right. Like, if this new core can prove to be something, and we'll go, I don't know. Like, I'm going to guess probably not because it's the Wizards. If I guess not, I'm regularly going to be correct.
I think I'm going to be a Thunder fan now.
Oh?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because they're good.
They're good. That's true. But why would you're just going to be a front runner? That's what you are? I understand, but you're just going to be a front runner? There's no connection there. I guess Wiggins is there, right?
Yeah. Aaron Wiggins is there.
Maybe you should use that as your justification.
No, I like SGA.
Okay, that's just called front running.
Is there anything wrong with that?
Yes.
It's the NBA.
Why don't you go be a Lakers, Notre Dame, Yankees fan while you're at
if the Lakers start winning games, sure.
Okay, then you consider that. You'll go all in on your front running. How about we have like a reason why we root for a team? How about that?
I mean, yeah, the Lakers have LeBron, so I'd
there you go. You got that going for you. Happy for Bub Carrington, obviously. Very happy for him. I think there were a lot of people who thought he might be a little bit later in the first round, so that was cool too. There's not a whole lot more of a take for me to have. Boy, the NBA draft is just like nobody. I know that it's worse. It's worse because we don't have a team. And so, like, if you have a team, you're still getting a new player, and, like, it's awful.
You can't watch it. Like,
it is between the tipping of picks, between the bizarre where the league has known this is a thing for decades now, and they've still done nothing to fix the team's not even allowed to say who they drafted. The Phoenix Suns, who are my team, couldn't tweet out anything about Ryan Dunn last night because, according to the NBA, they drafted, I don't even remember who Denver picked with their pick. I don't even remember who it was. That's who they drafted according to the NBA. They know that guy isn't a Phoenix Sun, so they can't tweet about him, and they can't tweet about the player that they're drafting.
And then so on the broadcast, like, they're cutting to because the Wizards and Knicks also swapped picks right before they drafted. So when the Wizards pick, it's like he's a Knick, but they cut the Wizards fans, and the Wizards fans are like, yeah.
It's dreadful. Now, I didn't watch it last night. I'm not going to pretend like I did. I'm only seeing the clips from the internet and all that. Like, it's dreadful television. I gave up on the NBA draft years ago because the television is so abominable. And it's sort of like what I said a couple weeks ago with baseball and the win stat. Like, everyone knows it's a problem. And everybody's like, yeah, let's not bother. Oh, well. Sorry. So now teams have to send, like, cryptic tweets out instead. Like, it is our intent to acquire just so they can have some sort of content about the player they drafted. It's so effing insane. And no one in the NBA has said, maybe we should think about fixing it. Nah, we'll just keep up terrible, terrible, terrible television that we've been doing. It's awful. And that's all the draft is a TV show. Like, the only reason for it to exist is to be a television show. I hate the fact that we have to praise the NFL so much here, but my God, it is night and effing day. Incredible TV show, abominable TV show. How? How can't you fix it? Congrats to Bub Carrington. Bronny didn't get drafted. Real bummer for Bronny.
I thought he was going 1 or 2. Like,
yeah, you really thought that's where it was going to be?
I mean,
at the end of the night,
Tim
was
telling me.
Like, there are all these tweets, but Bronny James doesn't get drafted. I'm like, yeah, me too. We got that in common. Cam Spencer, I think I saw like on ESPN's board, was like 15th best player available going into round 2. So this afternoon, the NBA draft continues, and root for our buddy Cam to hear his name called fairly early today. All right, today's show is brought to you by Live Casino and Hotel, where, of course, Sports and Social is the best place to watch all of the big games, soccer, the Olympiad, the All-Star Game, Home Run Derby, all of it. And, of course, they've got all the fights like UFC 303 on Saturday night. And don't forget that Live Casino Rewards members have the opportunity to earn discounts on cash and credit purchases at the casino. Join the Live Casino Rewards Club online or in person at Live today. See complete details, livecasinohotel.com. We had to do this just a little bit earlier because of his schedule, but an opportunity to catch up with Tim Kurkjian right here on GCR. Well, the Orioles on Sunday night are going to be on ESPN once again on Sunday Night Baseball. And just before that, baseball tonight, Sunday Night Countdown, you'll be seeing our friend and our next guest, our friend Tim Kurkjian, back with us on GCR. Tim, it's Glenn. It's always great to catch up. Thank you for taking the time for us this morning.
My pleasure, Glenn.
So, a weird week for the Orioles, obviously, where we know they're really good. They just won a couple of series against the Phillies and the Yankees, who we had thought were the best teams in baseball going into that. And the pitching kind of falls apart for a little while until Grayson Rodriguez, delivers a huge start last night. How, as we acknowledge the Orioles are good and we know they're a contender, how much of the last 10 days been a reminder that they've lost 4 starting pitchers this season? They're going to have to address it if they want to win a World Series.
Yes, they're going to have to do that. You can't lose 3 pitchers of that magnitude for the season and then think everything's going to be okay. They are still 50-30 with a lot of things having gone wrong. But as we know, it's not good enough for them to just win a division or win 90-100 and make the playoffs. They're better than that. If they're going to advance once they get to October, they're going to have to address their starting pitching. And how they do that is not particularly easy. I mean, Jesus Luzardo of the Marlins is going to be available. He would certainly make some sense. Garrett Crochet of the White Sox is going to be available. But, again, he's a relief pitcher who has been turned into a starting pitcher, has already passed his innings limit as far as what he's ever done in his career. Exactly how much help is he going to be? How great is he going to be the rest of the way? These are the really difficult questions that the Orioles have to answer, that Mike Elias has to answer. What do we do? Do we stand pat with what we have, or do we go make another big deal for a starting pitcher?
So let me ask a couple of those to follow up if I could, Tim, because the Crochet thing is fascinating to me. It seems like if you're really seeing a guy becoming a top-level pitcher in baseball in front of our eyes this season, then in a world where there's no Corbin Burns, it could make some sense. But I don't think we can kid ourselves and pretend like the innings aren't a thing and that, hey, just give it a shot anyway. Can you possibly acquire Garrett Crochet and believe that he's going to be able to make starts for you into September and October at this point?
Yeah, it's a big risk. I mean, his stuff is not a risk. His mentality is not a risk. But his situation is a risk. I did some research on this. I have never seen a relief pitcher work that many appearances, that many innings over X number of years, and then start on opening day like Garrett Crochet did. I'm telling you, it's unprecedented. So the real question is, how much does he have left for this season? But to get him, you're going to have to give up a fortune. He's a power left-hander. And is Mike Elias going to give up a fortune for a guy who they're not even sure will be pitching in October, and they're not sure he could be effective in October because of the innings? But, again, this is a risk you take. Maybe he'll be great. Maybe he's a difference maker between being a contender and a champion. So it's a very, very tricky spot.
What would you think of Eric Fetty at this point, Tim? He, to me, is the one that I've just sort of come back to. You have another year of control. He's obviously discovered something during his time away in Korea. I don't think he's starting game 1 of a playoff series, but you don't need that. You've got that guy on your team. It seems like you need a game 3 starter, and it feels like the way that he's pitched, he could be that for you.
Yeah, you don't need a 1 or a 2. They already have that, and Grayson Rodriguez showed again last night why you're confident with him as a 2. Eric Fetty's had an interesting year. A couple of starts here lately, got knocked around just a little bit, but I'm a big believer, Glenn. The light goes on at all sorts of different times for pitchers and for players, and you're not even sure when or how they went on or when they're going off, but it seems the light has gone on for him. And again, the White Sox are in a position to make all sorts of moves, but they're also in a position that they have to rebuild and rebuild quickly, which means they're going to want the very best from the Orioles, and it'll be fascinating to see what happens.
Let me phrase it this way as far as what the Orioles are going to do, Tim. Whoever the target ends up being, and we think they probably need bullpen help too, on top of the starting pitching help that they need. How far should they be willing to go? Like, Corbin Burnes is here for 1 year, and that has to make this year matter, but they do still have a young core that we believe is going to be competitive for years to come. So how far should Mike Elias be willing to go? I don't think anybody believes that Jackson Holliday would be on the table, but Kobe Mayo, Samuel Basayo, some of the other top prospects, should he be willing to part with someone, if not multiple, from that group in the name of this season and the opportunity that's there with Corbin Burnes?
Well, they're not trading Jackson Holliday, nor should they.
Yeah.
And Kobe Mayo's got tremendous talent. He would be in the big leagues with a lot of teams right now, and there are days I wonder why he's not in the big leagues with the Orioles. But I've said this a million times. This is when general managers earn all their money right now. This is the time you have to make really difficult decisions. So I can't see at the moment that Mike Elias is going to mortgage the entire future just to win this year before, Corbin Burnes potentially walks. I just don't think that's his MO. But he did prove with the Burnes trade that he's willing to go for it. The question is, how hard is he going to go for it? That's what the next month will tell us. The next 5 weeks are going to tell us everything we need to know about the 2024 Orioles.
Tim Kurkjian is with us. Of course, Orioles-Rangers, Sunday Night Baseball this week on ESPN. Tim, I wonder if, now that we're a couple of months in, and I feel like I asked you this question the last time we talked, have you deciphered any more? There was this immediate belief when David Rubenstein and his group came in that, now the Orioles can spend money and now they're going to have the opportunity. And he has played it very close to the vest. Every time he's talked publicly, he has deferred to, I'm going to let Mike Elias make those decisions and he won't tell us anything. Have you gotten any sense for what the reality of that might be in regards to whether it's Corbin Burnes as a free agent, whether it's have you gotten any sense of the willingness of this ownership group to start spending money here soon?
Well, I had a long talk with David Rubenstein, I would say, a month ago, and it was very interesting, and I was very impressed and with the way he speaks about baseball and how much he loves baseball. But that doesn't always translate to, I love the Orioles, I love baseball, I'm going to become Steve Cohen and pay everybody whatever they need and build a championship team here immediately. I didn't sense that, but that doesn't mean it's not in there. I think he's a very shrewd businessman. Nobody gets to this point without being a very shrewd businessman, and I think he's going to hold it very close to the vest until the time comes. Remember, that's how a lot of owners and general managers have done things for years. Dave Dombrowski is famous for not letting on about anything, and then pow, he signs somebody or trades for somebody. So maybe that's what the Orioles are going to do. Maybe we're not going to hear a peep from them, and then they make a big deal. But I can't say for sure because I haven't met David Rubenstein enough times to really recognize what he's planning on doing. But I do know this. He loves baseball and he loves the Orioles.
I all of those things, and he keeps talking about his personal race to the finish line, right? that we're not slowing up here. And I boy, all that sounds great, and it's just to your point, we don't have those answers. Tim, is there anyone going towards the deadline, like I know that obviously the conversation is it's seller's market, that all of the teams in the National League are in the playoff race, and so it's very hard to identify anyone besides, as you pointed out, like the White Sox and the Marlins that are definitely going to be trading. Is there anyone that you feel like could be maybe a surprise entrant onto the trade block over the course of the next month that maybe folks aren't talking about at the moment?
At this point, Glenn, I just don't see it because of exactly what you said. Every team in the National League has to feel like they're in it, and therefore they're not going to give up anything. So I think you're down to the two teams you mentioned, the Rockies, the A's, and the Angels, and everyone else is kind of in on this because they can't afford to give up on a season when if you make the playoffs, you can go to the World Series a la the Diamondbacks last year. So I just don't think all of a sudden, Cincinnati's going to say, all right, we're out of this, we're going to trade our bet. Well, they wouldn't do it because they got all young players, but I'm just not sure that team is out there where they're going to give up when they have a chance to make the playoffs. And my guess is a month from now, the standings are going to look very similar to where they are right now. And therefore, I don't see Toronto trading Bichette or Guerrero. It should be just a fascinating next month.
Is there a viable, legitimate replacement for Craig Kimbrell? I got to admit to you, Tim, I was obsessed with the idea of Ryan Helsley, but as we just talked about, the Cardinals ain't out of it. I don't think there's any world in which that at the moment is going to end up being viable. Is there someone? I don't think it's going to be Mason Miller. It just seems like that price is too high, and there's just no way, knowing the Orioles and how they value their assets, that they'd be doing that for a closer, even of Mason Miller's ilk. Is there someone that would slide in as this is the closer and Craig Kimbrell has to bump down, or is it more likely that the Orioles just need to fortify with more leverage arms and perhaps have multiple closers or Craig Kimbrell and a B option?
Yeah, that's how I see it. I mean, Carlos Estevez of the Angels has had a very good year and is on a really good run right now, and he could really help the Orioles. But to bring him in and say, all right, you're now the closer on a championship caliber team, I think that's a little bit iffy. And I think they have bigger issues right now than the closer because Kimbrell, he looked awfully good striking out 3 in 1 inning last night. I would fortify the other parts of the bullpen, but as we talked about, I would start with the starting rotation, get that fixed first, and then turn to the closer role because I'm just not sure there's a closer out there that is significantly better than Craig Kimbrell.
Before I let you go, Tim, Anthony Santander is going to join us a little bit later on this morning, and obviously he's in the midst of a red-hot June, of course. Santander is a free agent at the end of the year, and I think a lot of people have kind of assumed in the last couple of seasons, hey, as we talked about Kobe Mayo, Heston Kjerstad, that perhaps the Orioles would just be moving on from this group of veteran outfielders, and they would have the next group ready to come in. But I've poked around a little bit, and I've gotten the sense that maybe there's more of an appetite for particularly Santander on a short-term deal, 3 years, something like that moving forward. Could that make sense to you? Even it feels like you're running out of positions for all of these guys to play that you have, but could it still make sense to you to see the Orioles try to keep Santander around for a few seasons?
Yes. He's going to have in these 3 years, last 2 and this, he's going to have 90 homers in 3 years, maybe more. And that's hard to find, especially when you're a switch hitter and you're not just a pure designated hitter. You can play the outfield. I'm a big prospects guy, but it's a really hard game to play, and you can tear it up in the minor leagues and get to the big leagues, and it just doesn't work. Well, it has worked for Santander in the big leagues, and I would be very hesitant to just let him go so another one of those young outfielders can come up and play every day when you already got a young outfielder who plays every day, who hits the ball out of the ballpark, and has had a absolutely stunningly good month of June.
Yes.
So, yes, I would go great lengths to sign him short term at least and keep him for a couple more years.
Yeah, and as we reminded the other night, he doesn't have a bad arm either. That's
yes, that was a tremendous throw the other night.
Unbelievable. All right, so obviously we want everybody to watch Sunday Night Countdown, baseball tonight on Sunday ahead of Orioles-Rangers. But also, Tim, you want to remind everybody about the podcast you and your son are doing?
Yeah, it's called Is This a Great Game or What? It's my son and I. We hopefully make you laugh. We hopefully you learn something. It's been tremendous fun. We had Aaron Boone on last week as our guest. He was hilariously funny. And so it's great. We're really having a good time, and I can't wait for Sunday Night Baseball to return to Baltimore. That's great.
We love that. You didn't get to the bottom with Aaron Boone if we can stop throwing at everybody now, right? Like, we don't have to keep worrying about that the rest of the season, right?
Yeah, well said.
Yeah, I think we can be done with that. Tim Kurkjian, at Kurkjian_ESPN on Twitter, as always, is how you follow him. Tim, always appreciate you, man. Thank you for taking the time for us this morning.
My pleasure, Glenn. Thank you.
All right, when we come back in, hello, you turn my microphone off, which doesn't seem like what you wanted to do there because it's I'm Glenn Clark Radio. When we come back in, Katie Pumphrey, she just swam 24 miles into the Inner Harbor the other day. We're going to talk to her next. This is Glenn Clark Radio.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
The ultimate fan experience awaits you at Sports and Social Maryland. See how we're raising the sports bar with our massive 100-foot media wall featuring 40 HD TVs and a 47-foot big screen. Bet on your favorite teams and this year's biggest events at the FanDuel Sportsbook while enjoying your favorite beers and cocktails, plus our delicious takes on bar food classics. Visit Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland at Arundel Mills. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Discover one of Baltimore's hidden gems at Guilford Hall Brewery. Enjoy dinner in our spacious brew pub, sip a signature cocktail in our outdoor dog-friendly beer garden, or take a tour of our brewery. Discover your new favorite local craft beer. From crisp lagers to hoppy ales, there's something for everyone to enjoy. Pair your brew with delicious appetizers and entrees. There are options for the whole family, but you have to try our fan-favorite giant pretzel. Guilford Hall Brewery, where every sip is a celebration. Visit us online at guilfordhall.com.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now, and on the cover, Glenn Clark and Stan the Fan Charles sit down for a sports conversation with Maryland Governor Wes Moore, discussing the Orioles and Ravens stadium leases, the future of horse racing in Maryland, and how his own football career at Johns Hopkins shaped him as a leader. This is also our annual travel issue with information about sports tourism opportunities in Maryland for your family to take advantage of throughout the summer. Press Box is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the O's, Ravens, and Terps.
The drug scene in Maryland is changing. Fentanyl and xylazine are being added to street drugs, and you may not even know it. Xylazine is not even intended for humans, and fentanyl is an opioid 50 times stronger than heroin and contributed to over 80% of overdose deaths in our state. Anyone who uses drugs, even occasionally, is at risk of overdose. To learn more, visit stopoverdose.maryland.gov or call or text 988.
The days are getting hotter, and so are your Baltimore Orioles. Hi, I'm Paul Valley, and you can join me and Ryan Blake on the Bat-Around every Saturday at 10 a.m. as the Orioles march towards another postseason berth. With a Cy Young candidate in the rotation and multiple MVP candidates in the lineup, this might be the most well-equipped Orioles team to end a decades-long World Series drought. From the Midsummer Classic to the trade deadline and beyond, Ryan and I will be with you through the dog days of summer and into those crisp fall nights. So tune into the Bat-Around every Saturday starting at 10 a.m. right here with Pressbox.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Thursday edition of the program. Stan the Fan will be back in action a little bit later on today. Stan and Eric Garfield catching up at 5:30, facebook.com/PressBoxSports. If you want to watch it live, talk Orioles and just sort of an update on the minor league system after they've been off the last couple of weeks. So Stan and Eric Garfield today, 5:30, live at facebook.com/PressBoxSports. And if you miss it live, You can watch it a little bit later on, youtube.com/PressBoxOnline or PressBoxOnline.com/video. All right, so, obviously we're going to get back into some Orioles conversation this morning. Anthony Santander will join us a little bit later on, but right now I have been really wanting to chat with our next guest because what she did this week is absolutely unbelievable to me. On Tuesday, she swam 24 miles from Sandy Point into the harbor and into the amphitheater. She is Katie Pumphrey, and she is with us this morning here on GCR. Katie, it's Glenn. It's so cool to chat with you. Thank you for taking the time for us, and congratulations.
Yeah, hi, Glenn. It's so great to talk to you. Thanks for bringing me on.
Can I put this into context, Katie? I made like a spicy crab dip the other day, and I wanted to talk about it for like 4 days. It's all I wanted. I wanted other people to care about it the way that I cared about it. You just did something that literally no human being has ever done. Do you feel like you just walked on the moon? Like, how amazing is this feeling right now?
It's pretty amazing, and yeah, I want to talk about it nonstop and celebrate it with everyone. And I definitely feel like I swam 24 miles.
I wanted to ask you about that. I was actually half prepared for you to say something like, if I needed to, I could probably get back in and swim 24 more today. Where how long does it take to recover from, because you've done so many of these, how long does it take to fully recover from doing something as incredible as, again, swimming 24 miles?
Yeah, I would say definitely a couple weeks, a few days to feel less like I'm swaying in water. And definitely a few days of just drinking Pedialyte and recovering hydration and getting back to a normal sleep schedule. But I'll let you know. This one is particularly brutal, so I definitely feel every single one of those miles.
A lot has been made. You've done the Triple Crown. You've swam in all these incredible places, but to do it here, and I sensed, seeing your emotions and the way that you were talking about it. Was there a moment during the swim where it all hit you? Did you almost did you get carried away by your emotions at any point during the course of the swim as what you were doing and how uniquely important it was for you?
Yes. Yeah, countless times. I think really the first moment that was huge was when the sun came up. I was really looking forward to sunrise, the darkness, which I swam in the night in the dark before, but it was particularly disorienting. And then when that sun started to come up, and I, just looking out over the Chesapeake Bay and my whole crew that was there, that was just amazing. And then next, I think the next huge moment that kind of caught me off guard. I was definitely prepared for a lot of feelings, but was swimming under the Key Bridge.
Yeah.
And I always swim backstroke under bridges, which is I think a lot of open water swimmers do. It's really neat to look up and see bridges and see kind of the sun disappear behind it and then creep back out. And that, yeah, swimming backstroke under there, there was just so many thoughts going through my head. And then I was just sobbing while swimming backstroke. And then especially, starting to see Baltimore come into view and get clearer and clearer. And then, I think, and the whole day there were people lining the shores and out on boats and, waving and had signs. And the closer we got into Baltimore, there were just more and more people. And it was just the most magical thing I've ever seen.
So cool. It's so cool. Katie Pumphrey is with us here on GCR. Katie, as you talk about that, I have been dying to talk to you about mental health. And I know that's going to sound like a weird thing, but when I go to the gym and I realize I get there and I've forgotten my AirPods, I get back in the car and go home. I'm not capable of working out without stimulation just because of I know where my mind goes and it is a dark place. And, I've tried to get better at talking about it in recent years because I want us all to be willing to have these conversations, but it's tough. How do you do this? And I know you've got people there with you, and I saw that you were chatting, but how do you handle this? Is a half a day of being out there doing it. How do you do that and protect your mental health when you're on a swim like that?
Yeah, and I'm glad you're asking because mental health is so important to talk about. And I think especially for athletes, we talk about our big moments a lot, and getting to those moments, the training, all of that's part of it. And mental health is definitely something that, I think everyone wrestles with for sure. I think for me as a swimmer, I definitely spend a lot of time between my ears, a lot of time in my head. As an artist too, I spend a lot of time in the pool, even when you have swim buddies and training partners, which I have some amazing ones. It's still a lot of time underwater. So, and then in the studio, I'm alone a lot. I do have my 2 dogs, which they don't participate in conversations much, but they're great.
Sometimes, probably, yeah.
Yeah. But I think, really, my first, really big marathon swim was the English Channel in 2015, and that I'd kind of like gotten to know the dark places of my mind in some swims leading up to that one, but that was the biggest introduction to the depths, right, that our minds and feelings can go. And I learned so much from that. It was so hard, and recovering from that, like meeting those feelings, was also really hard. I think the aftermath of, like, after reaching a big goal, there's always kind of a drop off. I love that more athletes are talking about that, but that swim definitely. Sorry, my throat is still a little weird.
I imagine.
From all that water.
Yeah, I think we can more than forgive you for that.
Yeah. Sorry. But that, I think, just the more that I've done this, the more, the swimmers I coach, I talk about, you want to have tools in your toolbox. You want to have, you are going to have an emotional roller coaster, no matter how confident or prepared you are. And you just have to be okay feeling some of those feelings, and also know that you can kind of pull yourself back to neutral. I always tell all my swimmers that, you want to kind of keep your emotional meter at neutral during swims, because it's easy and really fun to get super excited. But then when you kind of feel a crash again, it feels harder. And then you also don't want to be too hard on yourself, and self-talk is a really important thing. So you have to be kind and gentle to yourself. That's keeping that emotional meter at neutral is definitely helpful.
Do you have
and really just focusing on, like, 1/2 an hour at a time, 30 minutes at a time, and breaking it down.
Are you like, okay, so I will tell you that even with, like, musical stimulation, like even with music playing, I still have, like, I will still list things in my mind. Like, I will list all of the baseball players that I possibly can, or like all of the bands that I've ever seen live, just to try to keep my mind from being able to go anywhere else. Do you have any, like, tricks that you use in those moments?
Yeah, I think I used to do that a lot more.
Okay.
Now I think I kind of can turn my brain off a little better.
Okay.
Especially when the conditions get rough, which they definitely were, approaching Fort McHenry, and I felt like I was on a treadmill for a few hours, in the opposite direction. But I think there's also sometimes that I think about, like, I always replay the movie Jaws.
Wow.
Which is just a natural thought.
Wow. Wait a second.
I watched that movie in my brain in the dark hours, especially when my brother Chris was the first kayaker, and he was wearing a headlamp so that he could see and navigate around crab pots.
Yeah.
And every time he looked at me, it would not only blind me, it would, like, create a shadow in the water. So that was just, like, introducing my imagination.
But are you like doing the like, you doing that in your?
Yes.
Oh my God!
Absolutely, you can't not. I mean, and I don't worry about sharks. I definitely think about them a lot. I don't, I'm sure many sharks have seen me. I always say, if you swim in the ocean or any kind of water they live, you're going to be seen by a shark, but they're not interested in us. So.
All right. Man, I got to tell you, that one might not help my mental health. That one
it's a great movie.
That might not work for me. Katie Pumphrey is with us. Katie, the significance of this, obviously we just had Harbor Splash the other day and everybody getting into the water. I know that's been a big part of this for you, is all the work that's been put in to make the water swimmable. How important was it for you? Because, again, you can swim anywhere, but to show to everybody else in our city and our region, like, no, I want to step up and be the one that says to everybody else, like, we're good. We're doing this now moving forward.
Yes. Which is so important. I think, harbor it's our huge resource that we have, and we should enjoy it. And so many organizations like Waterfront Partnership have been, working for decades and pouring their hard work and love into the city. And, I think we should honor all of that work and time spent. And, it's like these huge improvements it's a giant milestone. But there's still more work to do. So I think the more that we can celebrate reaching, safe and predictable levels for swimming that are matching, swimming beaches around Maryland and matching those same requirements, like that's huge. And the more, I think swims like this, and my hope is that I can help more athletes come to Baltimore, or that live here, especially get in the water to participate in events and, really bring sports to our waterfront, bring recreation into the water, and get more of the community to enjoy it. I mean,
That's
this
awesome.
it's our water, it's our city. We should absolutely be out there.
I guess I'm assuming you feel fine today. No impact of like swimming. Your skin didn't turn color.
Overall brutalness of the swim. I feel good.
Got to always address these things for the people that still think they're going to be an issue. I joked about it. Like, we all make jokes because we've all lived here and we've all seen it over the years. But if somebody asked me, hey, Glenn, you're a half a public figure, would you come down and jump in the water? I would. I believe in that, and I think it matters, and I think it's an important thing that we all step up and say. And so I really do have a great appreciation for on top of just the amazing nature of what you accomplished, the fact that you wanted to step up and be a leader in that way. You referenced the, like, you're always chasing something, right? Like, do you think at all about, like, what do I possibly do next, like, now that I've done this one, or are you able to just sort of revel in this one for a little while before you go down that road?
I will absolutely continue to revel in this one. But I think what I mean by chasing something is I love how swimming and training for these swims is woven into my life. So I absolutely want to continue doing these swims. And I will. So I'm actually doing the Catalina Channel at the end of July for the second time.
Cool.
So in just like 4 weeks or so, I'll be going out to California. So this is actually the closest I've ever had to swim
this is
together.
Insane. That's insane.
So recovery and rest is really important right now.
Gosh. Would you do the Sen? Like, is that, I know there's been a lot made about the, the water quality ahead of the Olympics and the events they're doing there. Is that something that, like, is intriguing to you that you'd want to do at some point?
Yeah, absolutely. I think with this swim, not only did I want to champion Baltimore and women and girls in sports, but also I want to champion science. This is an important time to trust science and data, and I'm certainly not an expert on water testing and water quality and the science that goes into that, but I trust those that are. And if the Sen is shown to be safe and predictable, and on the days that it's dry weather, which is a huge part of my sport, and familiar, dry days is like a very familiar term in my sport. And absolutely, I would get in there.
I'd be remiss. How does somebody even get into marathon swimming, by the way? Like, how does someone just wake up and say, Griffin and I were joking the other day, I go 4 laps and I'm like feeling a little bit. How does somebody just sort of wake up and say, yeah, I think I might want to do this, like, for miles? How does that even happen?
Well, it's little by little. So if you're at 100 yards or so, 4 laps right now, keep going. You'll get there a little further and further. If you want to. Wanting is a big part of it. For me, I grew up swimming. I swam year-round club swimming, Monocacy Aquatic Club in Frederick, and from my high school, Middletown, in Frederick County. And then I made the decision I wanted to study painting and really focus on that for college. So I went to MICA, Maryland Institute College of Art. And in studying and choosing to study painting, I then didn't swim collegiately. And swimming, which is a huge part of me, and I love it so much. And so I kept kind of swimming on my own, and I was teaching swim lessons and working at the Y on 33rd Street. And I started looking out for, like, I'm a goal-oriented person. I wanted to find something to train for, and I found the Chesapeake Bay swim, which is a 4.4-mile swim from exactly where I started my swim, which was very intentional.
Awesome.
To the other side, you swim to the eastern shore between the two spans of the bridge. It's an amazing swim. And that was my first one. So I finished that. I did that for the first time in 2010. And the first thing I said when I got out, I hugged my mom and said, that was the hardest thing I've ever done. I want to do it again. And I did it the next year, and as well as a 7.5 mile swim. And then I, kind of worked up to a 15 mile and, and then did the English Channel for the first time.
That old story. If I've heard it once, I've heard it a million times.
Yeah, I think incredible. A lot, which, I think it's in any area of our lives, but especially sports, it's normalizing your own crazy. So, surround yourself with people that believe in you, surround yourself with people that are going to cheer you on. And those goals feel reachable. It's normalizing all of those, steps to get there.
That's awesome. I know that the websites are swimkatie.com and for your art, katiepumphrey.com, correct?
Yeah, and they link to each other. So if you swimkatie.com is what you'll remember, that's great. Or Katie Pumphrey, that's me.com.
There's a couple things. One, you really are incredible, and I can only say this so many times, but I also hope that you know that for all of us that were just like watching from afar, like it felt like one of our teams winning a championship, like following you on Tuesday. That's the emotional lift that you gave the entire city watching you accomplish this. And I'm sure that you have felt that, but I can only say it so many times. Like, it ruled. It was such a cool day just being able to follow along with everything that you were doing and everybody celebrating it.
Oh, my gosh. Thank you.
Katie,
Truly, I keep crying, so you're going to make me cry.
No, you're amazing. Like, it really is an amazing thing, and I can't wait to see what's next for you. And I am grateful for how much you care about our city and how important that was for you to do this. Katie, congratulations. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes with us this morning.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And anytime you want to go swim in the harbor, I'll get a boat. We'll go on in.
I will. All right. Yeah, I'll do it. I'm not kidding. I will do it. We'll be in touch. I'm going to regret the decision. That. I'm only an okay. I got to warn you, Katie. I'm not a great swimmer. But I'll do it.
Well, it's all right. We'll put a life jacket on you. Safety first. And it is important, only to get in the water when you have permission and on dry days, and especially with safety. We'll set that up for you.
We'll work on this. We'll make some content out of it, and I would love to do that. And I want to show everybody else that I, too, like you said about the science and leader, I want to step up and be one of those people, too. So, yeah.
I love that.
I'm in. Katie, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Katie Pumphrey. I mean, all of that. Like, that kicks so much ass. I can't even begin to describe just how amazing that is to me. It like as a society, there are like small things that who is the guy in Philadelphia that like ate a chicken every day? And then like the last day, it was like I did it like 40 straight days, and the last day like a whole crowd. And, like, that speaks to our desire for involvement, our desire for community, but it was also very silly, right? Like, that wasn't actually an accomplishment, nor did anybody know if it was even actually, like, true. Like, nobody had been monitoring to make sure the guy was eating a chicken every day. And it's not – there's nothing valuable about that other than just the internal value of, like, feeling and celebrating together. This is really amazing, like genuinely amazing. And, man, that's just so cool. And we've made plenty of Inner Harbor jokes, and we've made plenty of, but, like, look, man, what she said is important. We believe science. On a much lesser scale, it's what I talk about with like the baseball stuff. Believe data. Like, we have this nature as humans to just sort of want to say, like, I don't care about fact. I feel this, and so this should be the way we do things. And I appreciate, without trying to make it a political conversation, I appreciate someone stepping up and saying, like, no, fact needs to matter. Fact has to be relevant. And if the fact, no matter how you felt about the harbor for years, is that the water is now swimmable, if the data, if the science says that, I am not smarter than those people. I am going to accept that as fact. In the same way that, like, yeah, it's neat when somebody has 2 hits in a game, but if the data says that they are not a good option to be hitting in a situation where they're facing a left-hander, then you don't just say, yeah, but my heart tells me this. Fact has to matter. I appreciate it. And I truly, that's an unbelievable accomplishment from Katie Pumphrey, swimming from the bay to the harbor, 24 miles. Just awesome, awesome stuff. All right, hour number 1 of today's show is in the books. We come back in. Griffin will preview the UFC card coming up on Saturday night. We might squeeze in an early tidbit or something like that. I gotta get out of here in a reasonable amount of time. I'm headed to Eastcom today at Turf Valley. To Ed Lee, Sean Stepner, and I are speaking over at I didn't prepare anything, so I hope that I'm not standing up in front of a. All right, now some statements from Glenn. Hey, what's up?
I know you'll think of something.
I probably will.
Just talk about how the Orioles,
I don't know. I don't think that's what they're looking for. I don't think that's what they're looking for.
Why would they call for Glenn Clark?
I don't think. I think
think
there are other reasons why I'd be appearing.
I can't think of any.
Eastcom. All right, we'll do all that next. Glenn Clark Radio. Hey, O's fans, gift the experience of Orioles baseball with an Orioles e-gift card. An Orioles e-gift card is the perfect gift for any occasion and can be purchased starting as little as $5. Use e-gift cards to buy game tickets at the box office and online at Orioles.com. Plus, e-gift cards can be redeemed at any concession stand or merchandise location throughout Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Surprise your favorite Orioles fan with an e-gift card today. Visit Orioles.com/gift cards.
The ultimate fan experience awaits you at Sports and Social Maryland. See how we're raising the sports bar with our massive 100-foot media wall featuring 40 HD TVs and a 47-foot big screen. Bet on your favorite teams and this year's biggest events at the FanDuel Sportsbook while enjoying your favorite beers and cocktails, plus our delicious takes on bar food classics. Visit Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland at Arundel Mills. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hagerstown, Maryland, a snapshot of American history that dates back centuries. Today, the roots of the city expand with another historical moment, the grand opening of Meredith Park, Hagerstown's new event stadium and home to the Atlantic League Flying Boxcars. Experience the energy, culture, and adventure. Plan your getaway today at America's newest and most innovative ballpark. You're welcome in Hagerstown, Maryland. Visit Hagerstown.com.
The votes were all counted, and the results are official. Royal Farms was named #1 for food in the USA Today 10 Best poll, receiving more votes than any other convenience store chain in America. The next time you want to get some good food fast, doesn't it make sense to go to Royal Farms? Voted best in the USA and home of world-famous chicken. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
The Toyota Tacoma comes in a range of models and trim lines, so you can choose the perfect Tacoma to reflect your unique personality and driving habits. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Tacomas from your local Toyota dealer today.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The Ed Block Courage Award Foundation has been working in partnership with the NFL for 46 years to support abused, neglected, and at-risk youth across the country, partnering each team with a children's facility or program that supports the well-being of those in need. Annually, one player from each team is selected by their peers to receive the Courage Award for their inspiration on and off the field. Learn more about how the Ed Block Courage Award Foundation makes a difference, and be sure to check out their latest podcast and web series episodes at edblock.org.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
Back in here on GCR into the 11 a.m. hour. Malik Washington, Archbishop Spalding quarterback, set to make his announcement tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock about where he's going to play collegiately. I've gotten to know, obviously, the Spalding program quite well from some of the work that I've done with them, including calling a number of Malik's games. He is incredibly talented. He has been highly sought after. I know, he said what are the 4 finalists? Hang on a second. Malik Washington, 4 finalists. I know Syracuse is one of them. I think Virginia Tech is one of them. Yes, UCF and Maryland are the 4 finalists. Of course, his coach at Spalding is former Terp Kyle Schmidt. So you would like to think that Kyle Schmidt has the relationship with Mike Locksley, that all those things. And we'll find out. That's all I can say. Tomorrow, 1 o'clock, we will find out. But that would be obviously a big get for Mike Locksley, one of the top 25 quarterback prospects in the country for the class of 2025. Archbishop Spalding's Malik Washington set to make his announcement. He just visited the University of Maryland over the weekend. So
I think you like the G-Wagon. So
you hope that there. Yeah, I saw that. You hope that there's a reason why he decided to go ahead and announce this week after that visit. You hope that's the case. All right, it's Thursday. On Thursdays, Griffin always likes talking some fighting stuff.
It's Fighting Words with Griffin Bass.
Fighting Words brought to you this week by County Sports Zone. High school, speaking of Spalding, high school sports season obviously is over for the past year, but now start looking ahead to the coming year. Football previews, all of the news that you need, you can find it at County Sports Zone. They'll be breaking down Malik Washington's commitment. CountySports.zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com.
Yes, so UFC 303 is on Saturday night. It's Alex Pereira versus Yuri Prochazka 2. And it's a really good card. It's a really good card. Obviously, I mean, we've touched on it the last couple weeks. All the state of limbo that this entire card had really been in between the Conor McGregor fiasco. The Coleman event also fell through like a couple different times. But they ended up putting together a really good card. I'm very excited for it. So it's the rematch between Pereira and Prochazka. Alex Pereira for the light heavyweight championship at 205. And Pereira knocked out Yuri last year in the second round, and it should be. And you know, everyone remembers. So before the fight, because both these guys are like kind of, I don't kind of nuts, I guess.
Okay.
It's like
right.
they're just very. Well, Alex Pereira is Brazilian. He doesn't speak any English at all. So both guys are kind of like they don't have a huge media presence. But like what we know about them is that they just kind of are very dialed in on like fighting and training and stuff. Yuri Prochazka speaks English, and he did an interview with Helwani earlier this week, and he was like, I just hope that Pereira doesn't use any magic this week.
I did see something about that.
So it was
he's
just
going to conjure the dark arts of some sort.
Yeah. So the first time they fought, like while Bruce Buffer was going through the intro, usually like the fighters are like pacing back and forth or something, trying to hype themselves up. They both just like stood stoically, just like staring across at each other. And for the 9 minutes that the fight lasted, it was really, really good. They were both just slugging one after one at each other. So I'm really excited for it. It should be a good fight. The co-main is very good as well. Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopez, who I'm very excited about. How can you not love Brian Ortega? He, when healthy, he's pretty for the last, whenever he's been healthy for as long as he's really been in the UFC, he's been considered like a top 3 or 4 featherweight. But that's the problem is that he's always hurt. This will be the first time since 2018 that he has fought twice in the same year. Because he fought in February earlier this year, so there's
seems odd.
It does. Well, because in 2018 he fought Max Holloway.
Yeah.
And that was when Holloway just completely beat up his face. It was like a doctor stoppage after 4 rounds.
Okay.
And so he missed 2 years. There was COVID in there as well, so that didn't help things. But yeah, so he came back and he's looked up and down. Like he lost to Volkanovski. He had a nice win over Yair in February, and he looked really good in that win.
How's
over
his
Yair.
face?
Well, he took a lot of damage against Yair, even though he did beat him. So I think it's going to be kind of a passing of a torch moment on Saturday night. Diego Lopez, I mean, he is just on a tear. He came off of he knocked out Sadiq Youssef in like.
I don't know why I did this, but I just looked up the picture of the
very juicy.
Holloway. Yeah. Oy, that is ripe. That is.
I mean, he almost. Well, he I guess compared to how he looked after that, he looked great after
sure.
Rodriguez
sure.
in February. Diego Lopez, he knocked out Super Sadiq Youssef at 300 a couple different times in that first round. I just think it's Diego Lopez time, and he's gonna be right in the title conversation now. Against like Ilya Topuria, Volkanovski, it's quite a rise. Movsar Evelev, he can rematch him, who he fought on short notice in his debut last May. So I'm really excited about Diego Lopez. But it's just a good fight. There's routes of victory for Brian Ortega, but it's just I just don't at this point in his career. I just don't think I can trust. I don't think I can trust him. So Diego Lopez. Anthony Smith is fighting Roman Dolidze. This was the original co-main. And this fight went through several different variations. So it's supposed to be Carlos Ulberg, who is he's a training partner of Israel Adesanya. So that's why everybody is very excited about him at 205, because if he had won, he's not fighting on this card anymore. But if he had won, then it would have set him up to fight Alex Pereira. So that kind of would revive that Izzy Pereira rivalry kind of. But so he was supposed to fight Jamal Hill. Allberg fell out, so it became Jamal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree, who's very good as well. Roundtree fell out because of PEDs, I think. It was
that'll happen.
But it was like a 2-month suspension.
Okay.
Like that was it. So like I wasn't sure, but anyway, Roundtree fell out. So then Anthony Smith stepped in to fight for Hill. So it was me, Roundtree Smith, and then Roundtree fell out like 2 weeks ago. So Roman Dolidze is now fighting fighting Anthony Smith. Should be a good fight. I'm rooting for Anthony Smith, I think, but it's kind of a tough situation for Anthony Smith though, because Dolidze is moving up from 185, so it's kind of if Anthony Smith doesn't.
I noticed there weren't odds listed on the UFC page for this fight. I don't know why.
Are you on ESPN?
No, I'm on the UFC.
Oh, okay.
They have odds listed for every fight, but they don't have odds listed for the
for
Anthony Smith fight.
Interesting. Right now it is.
No, they don't have one for Ian Machado, Gary, and Michael Page either.
So I saw that. So ESPN also wasn't showing odds earlier in the week. Now they are.
Okay.
But Dolidze is -135 against Anthony Smith. Lopez -150 against. Like every fight is very, very close in odds. Like it should be a very entertaining card. And as you mentioned, I think that outside of the top 2 fights, Ian Machado, Gary, and Michael Venom Page, that is the fight I'm the most excited for.
I've seen a lot of hype for that this week.
Yes, so Michael Venom Page, we talked about him back in March when he made his UFC debut and he beat Kevin Holland. And again, just go look up his highlight reel really quick if you can. He had so many highlight reel knockouts in Bellator. The thing is, he's older though, so he's 37 now. This is just going to be a really great fight. It's a win-win for the UFC too, because whoever wins, like. You can make a great title. This is pretty much a title eliminator, in my opinion. Because if Gary wins, you have an undefeated Irishman who's great on the mic and loves yelling at the crowd and stuff. And he's a good guy too. He's not he's not as messed up as Conor McGregor. And I think he's ready for the title too. If MVP wins, then you can make a Leon Edwards, Michael Venom Page title fight in England. Assuming Leon beats Bilal Muhammad next month. Which we are assuming right now, but Bilal Muhammad's been very good. No one wants to fight him, so that'll be an interesting fight next month. But hopefully Leon wins, so I can set up a good fight at middle or welterweight rather. Elsewhere, the prelims, Joe Pyfer, he'll add another knockout on his ledger.
All right, there we got it.
In the featured prelim. Cub Swanson,
pick it up. I did see that.
At 40 years old,
I saw Cub Swanson, then I said Andre Arlovsky's on an early prelim. What is that?
Yeah, the early prelims are not good, unfortunately.
That's fine, but what is?
I mean, Andrei Arlovsky, he's been fighting. He's just been fighting, man. I think he's going to lose. I think that fight is going to be one of the worst fights. It's just going to be slow paced. These are two heavyweights who don't have knockout power. So it's like, how are you even a heavyweight? But yeah, Andrei Arlovsky.
When was Andrei Arlovsky's last legitimate, meaningful win?
His last, he had a stretch where he was they kept giving him new guys, and he would just kind of grind it out to decisions. He'd keep him far away so that he couldn't get knocked out, and then he would just kind of jab him up a little bit so he could get the points. Bandera, Collier. I mean, none of these guys are good. Yeah, I mean, fighting Tom Aspinall was a legit fight back in 2021, but he lost.
Right.
I mean, yeah, because he hasn't had a knockout since 2015.
Dude, I can't believe Andre. I saw him. I talked about that Strikeforce thing that I went to and then did the Grand Prix. I saw he was on that card in New Jersey.
That was
years ago.
So that was when he was still Andre Arlovsky.
Oh yeah, he was a big deal. I think there was there was like what was the song that was like Andre Arlovsky? Like there was a whole thing.
His Strikeforce days didn't go well though. Did he lose?
He probably did.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Was that when he was fighting Fedor? No.
No.
Oh, that was right
it was
right
Sergey Kharitonov. And he did lose by knockout. February 12th, 2011.
First round knockout.
Your boy was.
But then he came back and he had a great UFC run, and for a
he had
little bit,
he had some legitimate wins.
Not as
there
good
for
as his
a
first
while.
UFC run, but yeah.
He beat Travis Brown. He beat Frank Mir. Like he had some legitimate fights in there. Stefan Struve,
and I think it's just
Brandon
more
Schaub.
like the UFC doesn't want to let him go, kind of like
because he's still enough of a draw.
Yeah,
that,
if he goes to PFL or whatever, it's gonna be like,
I get it.
They want him getting knocked out on their cards.
That's a weird bit that he's like
PFL.
just here's Andre Arlovsky in an early pre.
Yeah,
that's a weird bit.
And then quickly last week, Rob Whittaker starched Ikram Aliskerov in Saudi Arabia. But overall the card was not very good. It was just not an entertaining card. The Volkov Pavlovich fight was pretty boring. Volkov grinded it out to a decision. Gastelum Daniel Rodriguez was very bad. That was just a boring fight, and Gastelum missed weight like completely, like just by an entire weight.
That's not
class.
great. That's not great.
Yeah, and they kind of screwed Daniel Rodriguez. The parlay I gave hit Gadji Asulov, Gafurov, and Shara Bullet Magomedov.
Yes.
And that was the other thing. So Shara Magomedov, he didn't look very good in his fight, even though he did get a knockout win. But he was supposed to win that more decisively. And the thing was, so that was the other thing. The refereing and the judging was just bad.
Okay, we don't have time to complain about it.
Shara, a egregious fence grab, as he was getting taken down, and it stopped the takedown.
Oh, and they didn't call.
They didn't do anything.
Oh,
and he quickly turned that into the fight winning, or I think it was the end of the second round. So the guy didn't get the takedown at the end of the second round, and then immediately at the start of the third round, he got a knockout. So Bo Nickel tweeted though, and he was like, "I want that guy."
Oh yeah, right.
See if the fence grabs help you when I take you down. So I think that would be a good fight: Shara Magomedov versus Bo Nickel. And because I'm not sure if we'll have time to do fighting words next week, Shakur Stevenson is fighting Artem.
Well, we're not going to be on next Thursday.
Harut Nyanyan.
4th of July.
Oh yeah, that's why I wanted to make sure. Shakur Stevenson's fighting in Newark next Saturday.
Okay.
I think it's an ESPN or ESPN Plus.
Yeah,
card.
that makes sense.
Teofimo Lopez is also fighting Saturday in Miami this weekend. PFL is in Sioux Falls tomorrow night.
I can't believe we're not going. Why wouldn't we do a live broadcast?
Oh, we should have.
Beautiful Sioux Falls.
My PFL parlay would be Don Madge, Kai Kamaka, and Brendan Louthane -105.
You better share that out. You better share that.
All right, I will. Oh, and then the other thing. So we talked about Bellator Dublin. So Conor McGregor was there, and it was. They interviewed him after his fighter lost, and anyway, everyone saw his broken toe.
Yeah,
I say broken, but it was. Anyway.
I don't know what you're worked up about. I don't know why you care.
Because I care.
Okay. There you go. That's fighting words. I really thought we could do multiple things in that segment, but then it's always what happens. Griffin desperately cares about these things, and despite the fact that the rest of us don't, I let him go, and that's on me. That's my fault. I apologize for that. All right. We still have a lot to do, however, before the show wraps up today, including Anthony Santander a little bit later on. But right now, it's time for us to make a trip to Bowie to chat with a member of the Baysox. And our next guest was off to an incredibly hot start to the season for the single-A Aberdeen Ironbirds. And then he got the call up to Bowie to try to keep that going at the next level. He, a year ago, was a 10th-round pick out of Southern Miss. He is Bowie outfielder Matthew Etzel, and he is with us now here on GCR. Matt, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you, man. Thank you so much for taking a couple of minutes for us this morning.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Absolutely, dude. I don't want to try to make too much out of performing very well at single A or at the call it double A, but I got to imagine it's still there's something that's got to feel good about knowing you're on the radar, the organization is noticing, the work that you're doing is paying off.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I put in a lot of work during the off season to, dominate at the beginning of this year. I got a taste of high A last year in the last week of the season, so I got to in the off season for high A at the start of the season, and it was just to go out there, have fun in high A, but ultimately get promoted, and that's where we are.
Yeah, clearly that work paid off, and things are going well. What were you mentioned the work that you did after the draft and the short amount of time that you had in the pros a year ago. What were the priorities for you coming into this season and your first full season in pro ball?
Just like what I did in the off season, pretty much, or
no, just what were your priorities? What were the things that you wanted to accomplish this year?
I really wanted to be top 10 in stolen bases in the minor leagues.
Okay.
I felt like there was a lot of people that were doubting my speed, I would say, and I just kind of wanted to steal as many bases as I could this year and see how much damage I could put on the base pass, and really wanted to focus on trying to hit 300 this year. Those were my main two things I wanted to try to accomplish.
So I would imagine that, you're feeling pretty good about those two things, considering.
Oh,
yeah. Right.
I'm a big, set the bar high, and if you don't reach it, at least you were going up there trying.
So let's talk about both of them, right? Because you're sitting at 36 stolen bases right now, 5 since you got into Bowie in just 13 games. That's a goal, but obviously it's got to work in hand with what the organization wants you to do, what your coaches want you to do. Did you kind of know? Have you gotten to a point where it feels like throughout the organization they have such trust in you as a base runner that you kind of almost always have the green light at this point?
Not always. I mean, there's obviously certain situations in the games where if I'm on second and we're tied and it's the bottom of the ninth with 0 outs, I'm not going to steal third. But they do give me a lot of free rein to just go out there and steal in the right situations. It's a little bit harder in Double-A. You have to the catchers and pitchers are better at holding runners on, so I'm learning about when to steal the bases in certain situations.
Okay.
But can't learn if you don't steal the bag. So
you're not going to learn by watching, obviously.
Yeah.
You got to do.
Exactly.
Do you is there a in your mind is there a checklist for once you get on base? I'm looking for this, and then I'll know that I'm good to go. Do you have a thought process there?
Not really. We get a report on the pitchers and their tendencies and stuff when we're on first base or second base. Some guys are easier to steal on than others, but it's all kind of situational based.
What's the better feeling for you, stealing a base or hitting a home run?
Oh, hitting a home run,
okay.
Absolutely.
It's still the thing, right? It's still the thing. You went Oppo Taco for your first one at Double-A.
Yeah.
That does the feeling when you go opposite field, is it, oh yeah, look at how strong I am, or is it almost apologetic in those moments? I got it, but what is the feeling like when you hit an opposite field home run?
I mean, I'd like to say a homer's a homer, but it's definitely one of those to where I got a fastball and I was a little bit late on it, but I still caught it on the barrel. I was like, oh, let's go.
If you get barrel, how is anybody going to complain about that? That's the goal. That's what you're up there trying to do. Matthew Etzel with us here on GCR from the Bowie Baysox. You mentioned obviously trying to hit 300, and that's exactly what you were doing to start the season at Aberdeen. Clearly, there's going to be an adjustment period when you get to another level of pitching. But do you feel like you are quickly adapting to a place where you don't need to change what that goal is, that you feel like you can get right back in the coming weeks to hitting at the level that you were hitting at high A?
Yeah, I think it'll really take a long adjustment. I've already pretty much figured out what they've been doing differently from high A. the pitchers are definitely a lot better, and they can locate a lot better. And they were really attacking my weaknesses the first 2 weeks I've been playing up here, and I'm just working on strengthening those, and each and every day getting better, one day at a time.
Did you use like falling to the 10th round as like some fuel for you? Like, has that been something? It's been so quick, your rise and how quickly you are on everyone's radar. Was part of that like, yeah, it kind of pissed me off that I waited as long as I did in the draft, and I haven't forgot about that as I've gotten into pro ball.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Once you get drafted, first round or 20th round, everybody has pretty much the same chance to show off their ability, and it definitely gave me a little bit more fuel to, prove people that doesn't matter what round you're picked in, you can go out there and do what every pro ball player wants to do.
And that's exactly, obviously, what you're doing at this point. So so the goals that you set for yourself this season, do you recalibrate that? Is there something else now? Hey, I've done some things I wanted to, or is it just, hey, keep those things going as you get to Double-A?
It's really just I want to pretty much see how Double-A is, which I already kind of have, and really focus on just getting better each day to dominate the league, and season, apply it in the off season, and work on things there, and hopefully get to AAA next season.
What about
where I'm looking at?
You've been playing obviously a lot of different, like every outfield position, some first base. I imagine that's sort of part of the philosophy at these levels, right? Like, versatility is massive, but what has it been like? It's been almost like split evenly for you playing all these different positions. Is there one that you've sort of said, hey, I've started to think this might be my best spot? Or do you genuinely believe that like your path is playing multiple positions for years to come?
I always play every position in the outfield. It's something I played right field in high school, center field, and I've been working on left field, right field, and center field in all of our games, and it's just getting comfortable. The more positions you can get comfortable with, it just, helps you out to be in. So just playing all the outfields comfortable at each one. There's not really one in particular I like the best, to be honest.
I appreciate that. And look, obviously that's going to help you on your path, clearly, the fact that you're able to play so many different positions. Hey, the Baysox are back home next week, and obviously that means that you're going to get 3 chances, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, to get out and check them out. And Wednesday night, the night before the 4th of July, they're doing a huge fireworks celebration. They're also going to have a very special jersey for Wednesday night. Plus, Monday night, kids cheer free. You can get a free kids ticket with the purchase of a regular price box seat. Tuesday night is Military Appreciation Night. Get to Baysox.com in order to find out more about all these events, as the Baysox are back home next week. Speaking of that, the important stuff, Matthew Etzel, who's in charge of like the 4th of July cookout? Who on the team do you most trust behind a grill?
I'm honestly not sure. I haven't been like 2 weeks up here, but if I were to trust someone to be on the grill, probably, I have no idea if he even cooks or not, but Judd Fabian just seems like the guy that you would be able to trust.
All right, I can respect that. I would think that, like, as someone from Texas, this would probably be very important to you. Are you a man that has grilling skills?
I do.
Okay, so
I'm a big cooking guy.
So I know you guys have to play on the 4th itself, but let's say maybe next Sunday, next Monday, you get a chance. Lay out for me what would be there's cost not relevant. You're in charge of the cookout. What's on the grill?
I'm putting down as many fillets as I can on the grill.
That seems like the play. Yeah.
Potato. loaded potatoes for sure.
That doesn't sound so bad, man. I might need to finagle a way in to get that invite to be a part of that somehow. That sounds pretty good to me. Matthew, I know it's on Twitter anyway. It's Etzel34, correct?
I believe so.
And are you on Instagram as well?
Should be Etzel.30 on
There you go. I just
Instagram.
pulled that up. Absolutely. Etzel.30 is where you can follow Matthew Etzel. Dude, I don't know what else to say other than keep killing it. Like, my God, man, may this continue for forever, and may we be having all these conversations for years to come as you work your way up through this system. Matthew, congratulations on an awesome start to the season and to your pro career, dude. Best of luck as we keep this going. Thanks for taking a couple of minutes for us.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Matthew Etzel, the Bowie Baysox, with us here on GCR, who, is hitting 300 and stealing a lot of bases and hitting opposite field home runs, just doing a little bit of everything well so far to start his pro career. Hey, if you have not picked up this print issue of Press Box yet, I would encourage you to do it ASAP. On the cover, you see Maryland Governor Wes Moore, a sports conversation that we had with the governor of the state of Maryland. You can find it right now at your neighborhood Royal Farms and at the hundreds of locations around town where you find Pressbox. Read it all at PressBoxOnline.com. When we come back in, we will definitely get a tidbit, and then Anthony Santander joins us. It's a Thursday edition of GCR. Yes.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Discover one of Baltimore's hidden gems at Guilford Hall Brewery. Enjoy dinner in our spacious brew pub, sip a signature cocktail in our outdoor, dog-friendly beer garden, or take a tour of our brewery. Discover your new favorite local craft beer. From crisp lagers to hoppy ales, there's something for everyone to enjoy. Pair your brew with delicious appetizers and entrees. There are options for the whole family, but you have to try our fan-favorite giant pretzel. Guilford Hall Brewery, where every sip is a celebration. Visit us online at guilfordhall.com.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
The drug scene in Maryland is changing. Fentanyl and xylazine are being added to street drugs, and you may not even know it. Xylazine is not even intended for humans, and fentanyl is an opioid 50 times stronger than heroin, and contributed to over 80% of overdose deaths in our state. Anyone who uses drugs, even occasionally, is at risk of overdose. To learn more, visit stopoverdose.maryland.gov or call or text 988.
The votes were all counted, and the results are official. Royal Farms was named #1 for food in the USA Today 10 Best poll, receiving more votes than any other convenience store chain in America. The next time you want to get some good food fast, doesn't it make sense to go to Royal Farms? Voted best in the USA and home of world-famous chicken. Real fresh, real fast, Royal Farms.
The latest edition of Pressbox is available now, and on the cover, Glenn Clark and Stan the Fan Charles sit down for a sports conversation with Maryland Governor Wes Moore, discussing the Orioles and Ravens stadium leases, the future of horse racing in Maryland, and how his own football career at Johns Hopkins shaped him as a leader. This is also our annual travel issue with information about sports tourism opportunities in Maryland for your family to take advantage of throughout the summer. Pressbox is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the O's, Ravens, and Terps.
One of the things that's definitely wrong with this country is that this dude still has a job somehow, some way. Glenn Clark.
All right, back in here on GCRs and continue along on a Thursday edition of the program. And right now, it's time for us to get a tidbit.
Have you ever thought of taking a cruise to these wonderful destinations with sunny skies and beautiful beaches? Well, wait no longer. We're ready for you to cruise from the Cruise Maryland Terminal.
Have a little phrase that you can go from baggage to margarita in about 15 minutes.
Choose fun with an array of destinations, onboard activities, entertainment, and world-class cuisine.
Contact your travel agent and book your cruise today. Let your adventure begin.
All right, what you got for tidbits?
Gunnar Henderson.
I hear he's good.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, that's it? Just Gunnar Henderson. All right, very good. Tubular.
What do you think he's doing?
I think he hit another home run.
He did. He hit another home run out of the leadoff spot. He has the most home runs out of the leadoff spot through the team's first 80 games of a season since 1996.
Brady Anderson.
Anderson had 26.
That's what I assumed the answer was.
Spots, home runs out of the leadoff spot. But yeah, he's on pretty good pace right now, especially considering it seems like he's going to continue to hit out of the leadoff spot. I guess they've moved him around a little bit. But I did want to see if you could name who has hit the most home runs out of the leadoff spot over the course of the season.
This season?
All time.
I'm like, what?
Who has the most
single season home runs from the leadoff spot?
Correct.
I feel like this can't be all that different than what we did recently, but Brady.
No, Brady. So let's do the top 8. These are all guys that had 37 home runs out of the leadoff spot or more. So Brady had 35, so he just misses.
All right. Alfonso Soriano.
Alfonso Soriano in 2006 had 39 home runs out of the leadoff spots. Let's try to get 8. Yeah, I know. Maybe we'll shorten it.
Ronald Acuna.
Ronald Acuna has the most all-time. Last season, he hit 41. That is the record for home runs out of the leadoff spot in a single season, 41.
Mookie Betts.
Mookie had 39 last year.
Okay.
And that is tied for the second most. Tied with Soriano, Mookie, and then there's one other guy that had 39. In 2019.
Lindor?
No, not Lindor. Lindor is on the list, though. In 2018, he had 37 for the Cleveland baseball team.
I don't know that I know the answer to this. Springer?
George Springer.
There is a place where tradition, family, and community gather, where the aspirations of talented young
Harper leading
competitors
off
take
at some point?
Harper, no, he was not.
Tatis?
Not Tatis.
I assume these are all pretty modern.
They are,
yeah. Man.
You have
Trey Turner?
Not Trey Turner.
Yuck. Curtis Granderson?
No Curtis Granderson. The remaining 2 are both active.
Both active. Both. I thought you wanted me to get 8. I only have 5.
Did you add Acuna or
I got a Soriano, Acuna, Betts, Lindor, and
Oh, sorry.
Springer.
You know what? Soriano's on here twice.
All right. Hold on.
So 7.
He was a heck of a home run hitter.
02, so 02 and 06. He had
Altuve.
No Jose Altuve. Altuve had 31 in 2021. Bum.
I'm
Harper's teammate.
It's not Turner?
Not Turner.
Who else?
The current leadoff hitter.
I don't remember who was hitting leadoff for them. We just saw him a couple weeks ago.
He had a leadoff
Schwarber?
Yeah, Kyle Schwarber.
They're batting Schwarber leadoff?
They've been batting him leadoff since 2022. He had 38 in 2022.
I don't know how I've not noticed that.
leadoff spot.
Maybe it's so foreign to me, the idea that. All right.
He gets on base, so.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I get it, but. All right, let's
and then number 8, he had 37 in 2017 with this team that is not good.
With this team that is not good.
I guess they had to have been competitive in 2017 because he had
That
37
is
home
not
runs.
good. I don't know. The White Sox. So Tim Anderson didn't hit that many.
Colorado
home runs.
Rocky.
Oh, Blackman.
Charlie Blackman, 37 out of the leadoff spot in 2017.
All right, very good. Now, let's do this.
There is a place where tradition, family, and community gather, where the aspirations of talented young competitors takes root, and where the crossroads of history, culture, and renewal come together. This spring, experience America's newest and most innovative ballpark, Meritus Park in Hagerstown, Maryland, home of the Atlantic League Flying Boxcars. Plan your getaway today. You're welcome in Hagerstown, Maryland.
Orioles open up a series tonight with the Texas Rangers, 4-game set. Game 1 is on Masson at 6:35. John Gray and Corbin Burns, the pitching matchup for tonight. The frustrating part is that I was really hoping that the U.S. match was the second match tonight at the Copa. It ain't. It's the early match. And I'm going to need Griffin to tell me about it tomorrow because I'm probably not going to be able to watch it tonight.
I'm not going to be able to watch it.
All right, we're doing well.
I'll watch highlights, though. So I'll tell you what they show in the highlights.
Panama and the U.S. tonight at 6 on Fox in the Copa, followed by Uruguay, Bolivia at 9. I think I saw that, like, one of your teams that somebody had, whoever eliminated in the Euro contest, actually isn't eliminated.
Yeah, I don't know.
Somebody eliminated Slovenia. I
think. I trust John's formulas, but I assume that if Slovenia gets a point in the next round, the point will still show up.
Yeah, but because they're definitely not. They're
not crossed off.
They're not out. They're still in. But I am still atop the table at the moment. John Little Rock got some much-needed points yesterday. Desperately needed points. So now he has tied you and Jeremy at the bottom of the table. No pressure. No pressure in our Euro Copa Mayo Dog Challenge. Yeah, that is rough, man. That is rough. That was the team you needed. Yeah. You needed them to do something. Uruguay, Bolivia at 9 on Fox.
Time for Colombia.
It's by the way, it's very weird that Fox has to air Uruguay, Bolivia. Like that they have to air both because they wanted the U.S. match on Fox tonight, so they had to commit to airing both. That's a strange Fox match instead of doing that on FS1. Round 2 of the NBA draft, and obviously a chance for Cam Spencer to hear his name called, is at 4 o'clock on ESPN because.
Well, they don't want to compete with the U.S. match.
Reasons. They have the NHL awards at 7 o'clock on ESPN.
So is that why? Because the NHL draft is tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
So is that why the NBA
They could put it on ESPN too. I don't have any answer for you, Griffin. I have no idea why they're doing the draft at 4 o'clock today. It's very bizarre. Track and field trials get back underway tonight, 8 o'clock on NBC, 9 o'clock on USA, and the gymnastics trials get underway at 6 o'clock on USA. That's relevant for Donnell Wittenberg locally, Baltimore's own, who's trying to make the U.S. men's gymnastics team. Other baseball, Twins Diamondbacks, 3:30, Tigers Angels, 11 on MLB Network. FS1's got Guardians Royals at 8:10, ESPN Plus is Cubs Giants at 3:45. The Mystics host the Connecticut Sun tonight at 7 on Monumental. Prime, Amazon Prime for Vegas and Chicago at 7 o'clock, Indiana and Seattle at 10. Round 1 of the U.S. Senior Open getting underway at noon on the Golf Channel. Then round 1 of the PGA Rocket Mortgage Classic at 3. Rocket Mortgage Pocket Porridge, as everyone knows. And Access TV tonight for TNA Impact at 8. Anything non-sports?
So I'm wondering if this is the reason. Could this be the so the presidential debate tonight at 9?
Oh, yeah.
So is that why they wouldn't have the soccer at 9?
That just means that Fox isn't airing the debate, I guess.
No, I'm pretty well. At least, I mean,
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're
tonight,
not airing.
When I looked at the schedule earlier in the week, it did say that Fox would have
the debate.
So,
all right,
yeah,
it's got
after the debate.
Okay,
Martin Short still guest hosting for Kimmel, and he's going to have Melissa McCarthy, who apparently is in the new season of Only Murders.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All
And then Nick Kroll as well. New episode of The Boys. The Bear new season 3.
Yeah, that came out last night, actually. That came out like 9 o'clock last night. We missed that yesterday.
Okay.
We really screwed that up. All right, but this is more important, so go do that. Everything else you can find at GlennClarkRadio.com. Yeah, I'm going to end up spending some time with the Bear for sure. That is definitely going to be happening in my life. So I will look forward to that. All right. So, yes, everything else, find it at GlennClarkRadio.com for Totally Tubular this evening. But more importantly, yeah, I guess the soccer match has got to be like on Fox Sports 2 or something because it is definitely not on Fox Sports 1. Or I'm sorry, on Fox. Fox is airing the debate. I don't know, man. I don't have the answer. I'll try to figure it out. If I don't, life is going to have to go on. You're all going to have to survive without me being able to tell you to watch the or was it Paraguay-Bolivia match tonight? Uruguay-Bolivia match. This is more important than me solving that problem, as you only have 15 minutes left for this round of All-Star voting. So we need you to go do it right now and vote for our next guest to have the opportunity to be an All-Star for the first time in his career. He's having one of the hottest months in Orioles history. It's a pleasure for us to welcome to the program Anthony Santander, who is with us now here on GCR. Anthony, it's Glenn. It's great to chat with you. Thank you so much for taking the time for us.
Good morning, guys. Thank you, guys, for having me.
Absolutely. And I want to make sure everybody knows Brandon Quinones, Orioles translator, is also on this call. Anthony's English has gotten so good, but just in case there's any confusion, Brandon, thank you as well, and I appreciate you making this happen.
Of course, anytime. Brandon is my man.
We love him. He's done an unbelievable job. Anthony, so I just got to start. That throw the other night, you've made a lot of really good ones, but was that one the best throw you've ever made in your life?
100%. Yes. In my career, I would say that's the best throw I ever throw. I got a couple good ones when I played in the Little League, but that one was great.
I would say this one a little bit more significant, maybe, too.
Yes, of course. He's in the big leagues.
What is the better feeling for you? Is it when you pulverize a baseball, you hit a big home run, or is it when you make a throw like that the other night?
I mean, it's got to be both, because when you make a throw like that, you're helping the team win, and when you hit a homer, you also do the same thing. I mean, I would say both are equal in that situation. You get excited in both situations.
I don't blame you for that. I imagine still there's a lot of guys can hit home runs. Not a lot of guys in baseball can make that type of throw. There's just got to be a cool feeling that's even a little bit different than a home run, right?
Yeah, sure. Especially we keep the game close.
Yep.
And we gave the opportunity to the offense to score some runs right there. Same happened with the game with the Phillies. I mean, I make a throw. I keep the game with by one run. I mean, that's awesome. That feel great. It take a lot of work every day. Go to the outfield and work and those throw, and it feels really grateful to doing it during the game.
It's really cool to see you do it too. I was with a group of people, and we all let out an audible gasp when you made that throw. It was amazing. Anthony, the month that you have put together this month, and you've had a lot of really good months, and you've hit a lot of home runs in your career, but can you explain what it feels like to be locked in and to be in a zone, how it happens the way that it has been for you this month?
It's great, when you feel like that, everything is working together. Your body is feeling good. You're seeing the ball good. They can throw you any pitch, and you still got a chance to smash it because you really feel great. It's not only that you need to be on time on the fastballs, like it's been the most recent, but when your body is good and you're on time on the fastball, you'll be able to recognize all the other pitchers and try to don't chase much, and just put a good swing and that ball is gonna go. And it's great, as a professional, it's great when you feel it like that because it's a long season, so your body sometimes doesn't feel that as good, but you still go out there and compete every single day. And I'm so grateful that this month I was able to feel good at the plate, body, everything connection, and then be on time in the fastball because I wasn't doing that early in the season. And I mean, with those home runs, I was able to help the team to win a lot of games in this month, which is the more important thing.
Anthony, but Anthony Santander is with us here on GCR. When you go through something like, obviously there was a little bit of a slump at the beginning of the season. Is it as much mental as it is physical? You mentioned, like catching up the fastball a little bit more, but is it as much a mental thing getting through there and feeling good the way that you've had the last month?
No, I would say your body doesn't feel good every day.
Okay.
It can be mental because, you have the right mindset every single day, which is to go out there to field, work hard, compete, and give you 100% between those lines, But when your body is in a slow motion, you can't really do nothing about it. And it's part of this game, That's why you have to stay consistency, going to the gym, your mobility, doing your lifts, and all that stuff, so your body can react to those pitches,
Yeah, it's working. It's working. Anthony, are you a superstitious person? Like when you're going through a month like this, do you have to eat the same thing every day, or do the same thing in preparing for a game?
No.
Okay.
No. I would say no. No. But sometimes you get up and then, if you eat only omelet the next day, you want to eat omelet.
Right.
But superstition is like sometimes you're wearing the same thing to the field, or you're wearing the same slide when you go to play. And no, I don't do that.
Okay, so you're not crazy like that, But
no, I'm not crazy like that.
Every now and then something's working. Maybe we don't screw with it. The next day we just keep going and doing the same thing. Again, please, you got 7 minutes. Get your votes in right now. Let's make sure we get Anthony Santander into the next round of voting. Anthony, if I could, what would that mean to you, right? Like, you've done so many things in this game and you've accomplished so much. What would it mean to you to be an all-star for the first time in your career?
It would mean a lot, Personally, I will feel really grateful by God, He gave me the opportunity to go to the All-Star break, or the All-Star game. I've been working really hard in my career in the minor leagues, early in the big leagues. It's really been a hard journey. And I just feel proud, I would like to go, and then I would say my family will be proud, all the fans too, the closer friends that they know how hard I work. But it's still 2 weeks for that. We have to take day by day, keep helping my team win, and if God give me that opportunity, I will be so happy and grateful.
You guys have done a lot of winning this season and last year. How much, as someone who went through the tougher times here in Baltimore and, the rebuilding process, if you will, what has it meant to you to be a part of these last couple of years as the team has found so much success?
I've been really grateful, personally with all the new staff when they came in 2019. They gave me the opportunity to play every day. That's really important as a professional. When you don't play every day, it's hard to show who you are because it's a long season, and there's a lot of downs. I would say it's more downs than up. This is a tough game. But when you have the opportunity to play every single night, that's great, And I'm really thankful we got and the organization who gave me the opportunity, and that's great, Be part of the rebuild with we say Seth and Austin Hayes. We're still here.
Yep.
Young means that we learn from those hard moments. When we lost 100 games, it's tough. We show up to the field, but now with this youngest guy with a lot of talent, the combination with us that we have a little bit of experience it's great. Now we're coming to the field with the expectation to win every single day, and that's way different because we know who we are. We know we're ready to compete, and we don't care who we're gonna face. We know we can beat somebody.
Do you genuinely believe like this team can win a World Series, Anthony?
100%. It's a lot of talent. We had guys like Gunnar, Ali, Grayson, O'Hearn is doing a great job. Mauni, the relievers. We have experience with Burns and then Greenberg, who got a lot of experience in the playoffs. And I think that's a combination that it can take you to the World Series.
We're chatting with Anthony Santander. These are the final minutes for the first round of All-Star voting, so do not waste time. You can still get 5 votes in for the day right now, and then you can actually trigger a discount on Orioles tickets if you do. So get in immediately and get your All-Star votes in. Anthony, I wondered, you referenced all the winning. Clearly, there was a tough stretch before last night where you guys lost 5 in a row. How does this team handle it? Like, what were the last couple of days like that, and how were you guys able to make sure that it didn't get worse than that and it didn't snowball and you didn't start feeling down about yourselves?
Easy, because that's part of the past already. And we went through that last year too. We got like 5 or 6 games. Like 4 games in a row that we lost.
Mm-hmm.
And then we bounced back right away. And we have to understand that this is part of this game. We won't win 162 games. You have to have the right mentality, how to bounce back. And player like Seth and Hayes and I we went through that a couple years ago. When we lost 10 games in a row, it's tough. So having that mentality to how to bounce back is right now I would say it's pretty easy because we understand we lost that game. You have to come the next day with the right mindset and keep working hard and just play hard between those lines and win the game.
So we know, obviously, you've got fans all over the world, right? Like back home in Venezuela. We know, of course, you've got lots of fans over in Great Britain, and hopefully maybe the Orioles could be involved in a future London series. But I wonder what Baltimore, like now that you've been here for as long as you have, Anthony, what has this city and the people here and these fans, what have they meant to you as you've become such a cornerstone of this franchise?
It means a lot, Thank God with all the support, the fans, when they show up to the field, it gave you extra energy so you can perform good, so they can have a really good game, a really good joint, and especially like the last year we went to the playoffs. I was so happy. They were supportive the whole year, and it means a lot, fans, without the support, we are nothing, and I'm so grateful. So they has been really supporting my career, and I'm so glad and happy that I'm still here,
We like the sounds of that, and I know you don't get to make these decisions, but I imagine you'd be okay if it worked out that you got to stay in Baltimore for a little longer, right?
Oh, for sure. I would love to stay here,
I'm not trying to start anything.
Yeah,
I got to tell you, I got a 9-year-old son and a 7-year-old son, Anthony, and they are huge Anthony Santander fans, and they talk to me about you all the time. And they when they heard you were calling into the show today, they wanted me to tell you they loved you. So I just want you to know that I got 2 sons that are huge fans of yours. They wanted to say hello. If I could,
that's great. Say hello back to them.
I will make sure I do that. Brandon, if I could, I want to follow up on what we were just talking about. You've watched, and your relationship obviously with Anthony has been significant. What he's meant to this team, to this clubhouse, and this culture that we all see here in Baltimore. Can you put that into words, what he has meant to this entire organization?
Oh, man. I mean, it's invaluable, really. He's such a big part of our team, such a big part of our clubhouse, and he is the ultimate leader. You know, I don't think there's enough words that can be said about what he brings to this team, and every single day he just brings that same energy that just it spreads around like wildfire.
Yeah.
So, you know, we love having him, without a doubt.
It is infectious. There is no question about that whatsoever. All right, so I'll give you this one, Anthony, before I let you go. If it's you and Gunnar Henderson in the finals of the Home Run Derby this year, who wins?
Oh, that's not even a question, brother.
It's you, of course.
Hey, I got no chance with Gunny, brother.
Man, he's something, isn't he?
And I can hit the ball from both sides of the plate. But that kid, man, oh my God. He's in another level.
He's unreal. He is totally unreal. Anthony, we're so grateful for the opportunity to watch you play each and every night and everything that you've done for the Baltimore Orioles. And we are hoping that this works out, that you're going to be down there in Arlington for the All-Star game in a couple of weeks. Congratulations on an unbelievable month. Thank you so much for spending some time with us here this morning. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you, Anthony. And thank you, Brandon, as well. We really appreciate it. Anthony Santander. Let's go. All right. Voting's closed now for this round, but he gets in the top 6. We're going to need you to be back on top of that for Anthony Santander. I thought he was doing a Barry Bonds there for a second. Like, come on, what do you mean? Who's going to win? It was the exact opposite of that.
I had no chance.
That's how good Gunnar Henderson is. Even other baseball players are like, bro, nah, I'm good. It ain't happening. That guy is too good. Great stuff. Great stuff with Anthony Santander. Appreciate him taking the time for us. All right, I got to get out of here because I'm headed over to EastCom at Turf Valley to get with some of my friends in the communications business. So thank you today to Anthony Santander. Thanks also today to Katie Pumphrey, to Tim Kurkjian, and to Matthew Etzel. We'll get all of it up in the greatest hits section of the
Oh my God, it's so good.
tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. Tomorrow, Stan is back in studio with us.
Stan, Mark McLemore.
Mark McLemore will join us to talk some Rangers with the former Oriole who does TV work down in Texas. Also, Buster Olney will join us tomorrow as well, and stuff and things. Very good. Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Visit Hagerstown in Washington County, Cruise, Maryland, Guilford Hall Brewery, Royal Farms, the Ed Block Courage Awards, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, Costas Inn, MSAA, the Baltimore Orioles, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin. A great day today. Griffin_Bass. When they're great, we like to celebrate that. You know, like not everything. We're never going to bat 1,000, but like it was a really good day today. Of course, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Thursday night. Go Birds, go U.S. Soccer, Duke sucks.